The air in the dining room felt heavy, thick with the scent of roasted lamb and betrayal. As Daniel stared at the text message glowing on his phone. I can't do this anymore. I want out. His fork hung midair, a piece of meat trembling on its tines, while his heart thudded against his ribs like a caged animal. Across the table, Elise sipped her wine, her eyes fixed on the candle flickering between them, oblivious to the storm breaking inside him. 10 years of marriage, countless shared sunsets, and now this, a cold, digital dagger slipped between his ribs. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, but his voice caught in his throat, tangled in a knot of disbelief and dread. The dining room, with its oak table polished to a mirror sheen and walls adorned with framed memories of their Paris honeymoon, felt like a stage set for someone else's life. Daniel's gaze drifted to Elise's hands. Those delicate fingers that once traced promises on his skin, now wrapped around her glass, her wedding ring glinting like a cruel taunt. Had she been planning this? The message had come from her phone, but it felt like it belonged to a stranger. He set his fork down, the clink against the plate louder than it should have been, and cleared his throat. Elise, he said, his voice steady despite the chaos within. Is there something you need to tell me? Her eyes flicked up, sharp and guarded, like a deer sensing a predator. What do you mean? She asked, her tone light but laced with an edge he didn't recognize. She tilted her head, her auburn hair catching the candlelight, and for a moment, she looked like the woman he'd fallen for, vibrant, warm, his anchor. But something was off. The way her lips pressed together, the faint tremor in her fingers. He'd seen these signs before, small, fleeting moments over the past year. Late nights at the office. Phone calls she took in the other room. The way she'd started locking her phone. He'd dismissed them, chalking it up to stress, to her demanding job as a financial consultant. Now they screamed at him, a chorus of red flags he'd been too blind to hear. I got your text, he said, sliding his phone across the table. The screen lit up, her words glaring in black and white. Her face paled, the wineglass frozen halfway to her lips. For a heartbeat, silence swallowed the room, broken only by the soft crackle of the candle's wick. Then she laughed, a brittle, nervous sound that didn't reach her eyes. Oh, that, she said, setting the glass down with exaggerated care. I didn't mean to send that yet. It was a draft. I was just venting, Daniel. You know how I get when I'm overwhelmed. He wanted to believe her. God, he wanted to. But the lie hung in the air, sour and unmistakable, like the tang of spilled wine. Venting, he repeated, his voice low, each word a stone dropped into still water. You don't vent about divorce by accident, Elise. Her eyes darted away, to the window where rain streaked the glass, blurring the world outside. She was stalling, and he felt the truth slipping further out of reach. A fish wriggling free of the hook. The next few weeks were a slow bleed. Elise moved through their home like a ghost, her presence fleeting, her excuses piling up. Client dinners. Late-night meetings. A weekend conference in Chicago she hadn't mentioned until the day before. Daniel tried to hold on to normalcy, cooking her favorite pasta, leaving notes on her pillow, but each gesture felt like shouting into a void. He started noticing things he hadn't before. The faint scent of cologne on her scarf, not his brand. A receipt for a hotel bar tucked in her coat pocket. A new password on her laptop. Each discovery was a pinprick, small but cumulative, until his trust was a tattered thing, barely holding together. One night, unable to sleep, he sat in their home office, the glow of her laptop screen casting shadows across his face. He'd never snooped before, prided himself on respecting her privacy, but desperation clawed at him. Her password was new, but he knew her too well. Her mother's maiden name, their anniversary. The screen unlocked, and his heart sank as he opened her email. There, buried in a folder labeled work, were messages from someone named Ryan. Can't wait to see you tonight. You deserve better than this, Elise. We'll figure it out together. Each word was a punch, stealing his breath, until he found the last one, dated that morning. File the papers soon. I've got everything ready for us. Daniel's hands shook as he closed the laptop, the room spinning around him. Ryan. Her colleague, the charming one with the easy smile who'd joined them for drinks last month. Daniel had liked him, laughed at his jokes, poured him another beer. Now the memory burned acid in his throat. He wanted to confront her, to shatter her composure, but a colder, sharper part of him took over. He needed proof. He needed to know how far this went. He hired a private investigator the next day. A quiet man with tired eyes who didn't ask too many questions. Within a week, the investigator delivered a folder thick with photos. Elise and Ryan at a cafe, her hand on his arm. The two of them slipping into a hotel, her laugh caught in a grainy shot. A bank statement showing transfers to an account Daniel didn't recognize. Millions, drained from their joint savings, funneled into a trust under Ryan's name. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was financial, a calculated theft of their shared future. When Elise finally handed him the divorce papers, her face a mask of practiced regret, Daniel didn't fight. He signed, his signature steady despite the storm in his chest. "I just want you to be happy," he said, the words tasting like ash. She nodded, tears in her eyes, and he wondered if they were real or just another performance. The divorce was finalized in weeks, her haste a quiet confirmation of her plans. But Daniel wasn't done. He'd kept copies of the investigator's findings, the bank records, the emails. He hired a lawyer, one with a reputation for ruthlessness, and they built a case. Elise had underestimated him, mistaking his silence for weakness. The lawsuit hit her like a tidal wave: fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, emotional distress. The court froze the trust, and Ryan, faced with exposure, turned on her, revealing her role in the scheme to siphon their wealth. In the courtroom, Elise sat alone, her face hollow, her confidence stripped away. Daniel didn't look at her. He didn't need to. The judge's ruling was merciless. The millions returned to Daniel, punitive damages added, her reputation in ruins. She'd gambled everything: love, trust, their future, for a man who'd abandoned her at the first sign of trouble. That night, Daniel sat in their empty dining room. The same table where it all began. The candle was gone, the room dim, lit only by the streetlights outside. He poured a glass of wine, raised it to the silence, and whispered, "To trust." The word lingered, bitter and unbroken, as he drank alone, the weight of his victory cold against the ache of his loss.